Hello, let's talk about Marvel's The Defenders. I almost said the weird. The Defenders. So this is the final Marvel show, Marvel Netflix show that we're going to be talking about. Hopefully this costume looks good. I decided to sort of spice it up because I was going to do the Spider-Verse suit, but I think I've worn that before. So yeah, and this doesn't look too bad actually. But yeah, basically, this was the thing that all these shows were going to lead up to. So back in 2013, obviously these shows were all announced, and it was like a big deal. You know what I mean? Well, not like a big deal, but it was like kind of impressive to think, oh, we're gonna get these TV shows that are gonna be about Marvel, or gonna be about Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage, and then eventually we would get a show about the Defenders and called Defenders. And of course, that back in the day when they were on Netflix, this was a limited series. And honestly, I kind of wish that they had gotten the chance to make a season 2 of this. Hopefully, one day we can get I don't know, like a 90-minute movie on Disney Plus. But what is this show about? Well, the Defenders, like I said, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage all have to team up to defeat the Hand. Now, we've, of course, seen the Hand before as a bunch of crappy ninjas in Daredevil Season 2, and then, of course, they were in Iron Fist, and the version of the Hand that we saw was more led by Madame Gao, less ninja, more Madame Gao-y, and, of course, they were sort of like a cult. And I will say, I do kind of prefer that interpretation of them a bit more than the ninjas, because honestly, it's insanely hard to mess up ninjas, but somehow Daredevil Season 2 achieved the impossible. And it was very much insulting considering how much I love that show. That, of course, being said, I think that this show is pretty good. Genuinely, I think this show was pretty good. It sucks that they didn't really have a clear vision of who Iron Fist is supposed to be. He's definitely sort of a moody, angsty teenager in this, a lot more than he actually is in his show, believe it or not. And then, of course, Colleen Wing, they had no idea what to do with her either, which, I mean, makes sense. Like, the Iron Fist show is sort of widely understood to be the worst of these shows, and it is. But I don't know, like, you could have had a chance to make them better. You know, you didn't have to give up. But no, Danny is just angsty, and Colleen is a bit nothing. I do like their interpretation of Misty. But I guess we should stick with her negatives. But I do like Misty in both her appearance of Iron Fist Season 2 and here. She feels pretty consistent with what she was doing in Luke Cage. But sticking more with negatives, I don't like the Hand. Never really did. I hate this version of Elektra just in general. I think that they just made her like the toxic girlfriend, and I don't know, I feel like you could have done something more interesting with her than just toxic girlfriend. And maybe this is coming from a guy who actually has a toxic ex-girlfriend, but I don't know, I just sort of wish that there was more to her than just that. But whatever, I guess. She's toxic for whatever reason, and I just don't like Elektra. I don't like her performance. I don't really like the way that she's written, and I don't know. I also don't really like Madame Gao. Sigourney Weaver, I think, is doing the best that she can with the material that she's given. You know, Sigourney Weaver, famous for Ghostbusters. I love Ghostbusters. She is a top-tier actress, and I think she's doing the best that she can. But even then, her best is just kind of like her best, and I don't know. The Hand sucks. There you go. That's my piece on the Hand. What else is there to complain about? like more negative. I guess you could say. I think that's about it. I do like how every show, or how every time we see the characters within the first like 2 episodes of the show, they feel like the different shows, and then at some point, this sort of becomes like it honestly feels more Jessica Jonesy, and I don't know if that's because S.K. Johnson, is that her name? S.K. Johnson, the director of Madam Web. I don't know if that's because she directed the first 2 episodes of the show, which were pretty impressive. I really wasn't blown away by her work on the like Jessica Jones pilot, but I think she actually did a really good job with her 2 episodes in this show. And then of course, I think this is actually cinematography level, actually like a really good show. You know, it's directed as well as these shows normally are, but the cinematography really did have some moments to shine with a lot of one takes and stuff like that. And yeah, I liked the way, for the most part, that they utilized most of these guys' side characters. You know, I think Foggy and Karen probably have like the most to do. Colleen Wing, in fact, most or everyone who's a side character in Iron Fist don't even show up. Like Iron Fist literally is just kind of like, he feels like an addition to this show, not a main character. But I mean, Misty's handled pretty well. Foggy and Karen are amazing. I think that's mostly due to their actors, but they're pretty much amazing. And yeah, I loved seeing Matt and Jessica interact. Those are like my 2 favorite characters from this sort of era of Marvel MCU-dom. You know, of the MCU, this is probably, those are my 2 favorite characters from this era, and they were great. I miss Jessica so much, and that probably comes from the fact that I literally watched her show like a month ago. But I don't know, like I thought she was great, and I thought Matt was great, and of course, the guy who plays Luke Cage, Mike something, of course, knocked it out of the park as well. The main characters are really good. And I don't know, the action scenes were also like top notch, especially compared to Iron Fist, where they only got marginally better in like season 2, but ultimately not that good. And yeah, like this was just a pretty fun show. I'm gonna take a few days to sort of really noodle it, but I honestly would think that I'd give this show like, I don't know, like a B- or like a C+ in that sort of letter grading that I've been doing. But yeah, like I genuinely liked this show. I thought they handled the characters pretty much well. I liked that it was only 8 episodes long. You know, it didn't feel like, because most of these shows feel like they're sort of padding out the runtime, trying to get to 13. You know, even the best of these shows kind of have the problem of like, you know, Daredevil season 1 has that problem of like, oh, y'all are like really trying to make this 13. I love the Punisher show, but like that show is insanely slow. But no, this was 8 episodes. I honestly thought it was 7 until I got to the page and saw that it was 8. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And you know, like it does a good job with its 7, or with its 8, I mean. And it makes me kind of wish that we had another season of this where they were a team, and maybe we could learn from our mistakes and maybe make them, you know, make it feel more like it flows properly. But I'm ultimately happy with what we got. I think the character dynamics work really well. And, you know, like, I think it just was rather, you know, nice to see. And, you know, I think it was just rather, like, a fun watch. You know, I watched this basically all in one day. Like, I wanted to. Like, I will say, like, yes, I did want to, like, last video, but I thought I'd I didn't think I'd have enough time to watch it all in one day, so I was gonna try to spread it out. Accidentally watched it all in one day, but like this was surprisingly good, and I think is a worthy conclusion to sort of this rewatch or this new fresh watch that I did with most of these shows, because the only ones that I've seen, like I've talked about before, the only Marvel Netflix shows that I saw before I did this whole thing was, of course, Daredevil, Punisher, and Defenders. I actually watched Defenders the last day these shows were on Netflix. I literally watched Defenders in like one day. And I really didn't appreciate it as much as I did this time. There are some really fun Easter eggs, and while we don't really utilize Iron Fist's, his characters super well, we barely at all, there are some nice little references to like, oh, this is like an Iron Fist thing. And I don't know, like, it was actually really nice and felt rewarding to watch all these shows and then watch this one. I would love to maybe one day, granted, I think I'm gonna go back and like watch, throughout the years, watch at least Daredevil and Jessica Jones like yearly. I think that's something I want to do. But one day, I would love to like watch these in release order, because then you kind of get like a better picture of this continuity. And who knows, maybe I'll make a video about that. Granted, it's just gonna be a short video because it wouldn't be a review, but I don't know. This was genuinely really good, and I, like I said, I liked it. And I don't know, I would love to hear your thoughts on the comment section down below. Of course, I would have loved to have seen more of Trish and Malcolm, but they do have pretty good roles, and there are some pretty good interactions that Trish and Karen have as the sort of journalist type characters in their respective shows. And yeah, like I'm surprisingly gushing about Defenders, and I do genuinely think that Defenders is pretty good. It's just that the villains kind of suck, and I think the only reason the villains suck is because they just didn't have a good grasp on what the Hand should be, and that makes this show, which is all about the Hand, suffer. But that is it for now. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for watching, like I said, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching my channel. If you have not seen the previous parts, I do recommend you go and watch those, whether in my MCU playlist or just go onto the page. Who knows? I think I might do a Defenders playlist. So there you go. Comment below, let me know what is your favorite of these Marvel Netflix shows, because personally, obviously Daredevil is number one, but then it's Jessica Jones, I think The Punisher, Luke Cage, Defenders, and then Iron Fist. That's probably legitimately what the ranking is. So yeah, comment below, let me know. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? All that kind of fun stuff. And remember that God, He made you special. He loves you very much. I hope you had a very lovely day. Hope you had a very lovely week, as always. And God bless y'all.